The lobby of the Grand Aurora Hotel gleamed under golden chandeliers, its marble floors echoing the rhythmic clack of polished shoes and rolling suitcases. In a corner where no one usually looked, Maria Van Dyke knelt beside a potted fern, gently scrubbing the baseboard with a cloth she'd rinsed a dozen times that morning. At 52, she moved slower than she used to, but her hands were still quick, precise, and steady, the result of 25 years cleaning rooms that sparkled just as much as the suits and gowns of the guests who passed her by without a glance. It was a Tuesday morning, ordinary in every way, until her phone buzzed in the apron pocket she wore beneath her uniform. A voice crackled through, urgent, familiar. Her sister, calling from a hospital bed in Rotterdam. Maria, ze zeggen dat ik misje de octen niet hail, her sister's voice quivered in Dutch. Maria stood up quickly, her eyes glassy but focused. She answered softly in their mother tongue, the syllables flowing with emotion. Nee, je moet blijven vechten. Ik ben bij je in gedachten. Jig bent sterk. Unbeknownst to her, just a few feet away in the executive lounge, a man seated in a leather armchair slowly lowered his newspaper. He was in his late 60s, distinguished, dressed in a quiet kind of wealth, no flashy watch, no entourage, just presence. Ethan Caldwell had built and sold 3 major tech companies and had a net worth north of $800 million. Yet that morning, it wasn't a pitch deck or a market trend that caught his attention, it was Maria, and her voice. He didn't understand the words, but he didn't need to. Something in her tone, the urgency, the love, the gravity, moved him in a way he hadn't felt in years. He watched her tuck the phone away, wipe her eyes discreetly, and return to cleaning the baseboard as if nothing had happened. No breakdown. No drama. Just duty. Ethan asked the concierge, "Who is that woman?" The concierge blinked, surprised. "Ah, sir, that's Maria. One of our longest-serving staff members. She's been here since before I started." The next morning, Maria was summoned to the manager's office, a place she had only been once before, years ago when she was given a pin for 2 decades of service. She thought she might be in trouble. Had someone complained about her again? Was she too slow on the 14th floor? To her surprise, the manager wore a strange mix of reverence and curiosity. "Maria, Mr. Caldwell, he's staying in the penthouse suite, he's requested to see you. Personally." She blinked. "Me? Why?" He didn't say. Just that it was important. Cleaned and nervous, Maria stood in front of the penthouse door at noon. When it opened, she was greeted by the man from the lounge. He smiled, not like a man used to being admired or obeyed, but like someone grateful just to see her. "Maria, is it? Please, come in." The suite was larger than her entire apartment. He offered her tea, but she declined. "Sir, I don't want to take up your time." "I insist," he said. "And, please, no, sir. Just Ethan." She sat on the edge of a velvet chair, her hands folded tightly in her lap. He studied her, not with scrutiny, but genuine interest. "I heard you yesterday," he began. "Speaking Dutch, I believe. It was powerful. Forgive me for listening. I couldn't help it." She blushed. "My sister. She's ill. In the Netherlands. Very ill." "I'm sorry," he said, and the way he said it made her believe he truly was. "Why did you want to see me?" she asked. Ethan leaned back and exhaled. "I've been in hundreds of hotels. Cities all over the world. And never, not once, have I been moved by anything as much as I was by you speaking to your sister yesterday. Your words, your heart, they reminded me of my mother. She was Dutch too. Moved to the US when she was 19. I never learned the language, but I remember how she sounded when she spoke it. Especially when she was scared. Or praying." Maria's lips trembled. You understood her without understanding the words. Yes, he said. And I understood you the same way. There was a silence that didn't feel awkward. It felt full. Then Ethan said something she never could have expected. I'd like to help. I have a private jet. Let me fly you to your sister. Today. Maria stared. No. I couldn't. That's too much. I couldn't afford. It's not about money. It's about what's right. You should be with your family. She started to cry, silent tears first, then deep sobs. She hadn't allowed herself to hope she'd see her sister again. The flights were too expensive. She had no paid time off left. She couldn't risk her job. But this stranger, this man who had everything, saw her. Not as a cleaner. Not as a uniform. As a sister. As a human being. Within hours, Maria was in the sky for the first time in a decade, tears pressed against the window as the Atlantic stretched beneath her like a long road home. She held her sister's hand that night, whispering prayers and memories, laughter and apologies. Her sister, weakened but lucid, smiled. I knew you'd come, she said. Her sister survived the night. And then another. She slowly improved. Maria stayed for a week. Ethan had arranged everything, her wages, her leave, even a nurse to assist her sister's care. When Maria returned to the hotel, she walked in not as invisible, but as someone whose story had been seen. Word had spread. Staff whispered in reverence. Guests greeted her with smiles. And waiting for her at the front desk was an envelope. Inside was a letter in Ethan's handwriting. Dear Maria. You reminded me that the smallest voices often carry the greatest strength. I saw love in you that transcends language and class and circumstance. I've made a donation in your name to a hospice in Rotterdam. But more than that, I've spoken to the hotel board. Starting next month, you will be leading our new staff training program on compassion and service. With a raise. You showed me what real humanity looks like. Thank you. Ethan. Maria clutched the letter to her chest, her tears soaking the words that had changed her life. From that day forward, guests would occasionally find little cards tucked into their rooms, handwritten in neat cursive. Be kind to the invisible. They carry worlds you cannot see. She never sought recognition. She never wanted riches. All she wanted was to serve with dignity, to love fiercely, and to be remembered, not for what she did, but for how she made others feel. And she was. The end. Let me know if you'd like this adapted into a spoken script or video format, or translated into another language.